Happy to have. Welcome. I'm Melissa Goff. I'm the superintendent, and I'm really glad to have you here tonight. We have an hour together, and we are going to give you a little bit of information from staff about school. And then really what we want is to be able to answer questions that you may have from about anything related to distance learning, related to going to school in person, schedules, really anything that you have questions about, we want to answer. I would also encourage you, welcome you to turn on your cameras if you feel comfortable having your cameras on. You don't have to have your cameras on, but please know we welcome that if you would like to. And if you feel more comfortable asking your questions in the chat rather than talking, please feel free to just type them into the chat. We have quite a few staff members here who will team up and answer your questions as they come about for us. So I want to get started just by introducing the team that's here, that's on the call. We are going to do our best to do this quickly. Again, I'm Melissa Goff. I am the superintendent, and Lisa.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Harlan, and I serve as the assistant superintendent. Welcome. Super glad to have you. I will kick it off to our elementary director, who then can pick the next person.
Good evening. Thanks for coming. I'm Sue Luthra, and I'm the Director of Elementary Education. So if you have kids in elementary school, I work with all of your schools. And I'll pass it to Rachel.
Hi, my name is Rachel Smith. I am our district health coordinator. So I do a lot of work with the COVID health and safety protocols. And I'm going to pass it off to Heather.
Hello, good evening. I'm Heather Hughes-Efka. I work at the district office and have the pleasure of also working with our Welcome Center team. And I shall pass it off to Stacy Lee.
Hello, I'm Stacy Lee. I'm the curriculum coordinator for the district, which includes our bilingual education programs and our English language development programs. And I will pass it off to Katie Alabak.
Hi, my name is Katie Alabak, and I help to support early learning in our district. And I'll pass it off to Roselia. Roselia.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Roselia Francisco, trabajo aquí en el Centro de Bienvenida. Good evening, hi, my name is Roselia and I work here at the Welcome Center.
Leonor.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Leonor Chávez y trabajo aquí en el Centro de Bienvenida. Good evening, my name is Leonor Chavez and I work here at the Welcome Center.
Y Patricia.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Patricia Martínez, trabajo en el Centro de Bienvenida. Good evening, my name is Patricia Martínez, I work at the Welcome Center, and I'm going to remind everybody about the interpretation button. So, because there is new people coming. En este momento, para las personas que se están uniendo a la conferencia, nuestro compañero David Jazmín está interpretando simultáneamente. Van a tener que ir al botón en la parte inferior de su pantalla, van a donde dice Interpretation, y van a marcar la palabra español o Spanish para poder escuchar la interpretación esta noche. Si tienen problemas para escuchar la interpretación, por favor nos avisan.
Gracias, Patricia.
And I think we're missing David.
Oh, David. David.
He may not be able to come back on the English version while he's doing Spanish.
Okay. So David Jazmín is on the Spanish side of the discussion for us tonight. He is doing all of the interpretation from English to Spanish. So thank you so much, David. And I am going to share a few slides with you. I wanted to talk to you first about the in-person hybrid schedule so that you each have an understanding of what students who are coming to school in person, what that timeline looks like for them to start school. So here you can see that we have on now I'm looking in Spanish. This is in Spanish and I speak English. So at the end, right before spring break next week, at the end of next week, we are going to have some days that are preparation days for the teachers at elementary school. So they will not be, students will not be actually in their distance learning for the last 2 days before spring vacation. And teachers will be preparing their classrooms at the school for those students who are coming back to go to school in person. Then we have the week of spring break. And then when we come back on March 29th, our kindergarten first and second graders will have their first day of school the Monday after spring break. Third through fifth graders on that day will still be in distance learning. So they will not start back in person until the next day. And that just gives our littlest children some time to get to know their teachers, and it allows our elementary staff to really focus on our youngest learners that first day back. But the very next day, which is Tuesday, March 30th, the third, fourth, and fifth graders will start in the hybrid model. On April 2nd, there will be no classes for students because that's a grading day for their teachers. So that first week after spring break, the schedule will be that Friday, there will not be school for students. And that's elementary only. When we look at middle school, we see middle and high school, we have some changes that are significant for the middle school level students. So anything that is highlighted in yellow here is a change from the original calendar to start students in person for hybrid. On the 19th of March, which is next Friday, a week from tomorrow, there will be no classes for middle school students because their teachers will have a grading day. So that's the day that teachers will be working on grading for third quarter. Then they have spring break the following week, just like all of the younger kids did. And on the 29th and the 30th of March, which is the Monday and Tuesday after spring break, there will be no school for middle school either. So middle school has a longer spring break, the students do, because on that Monday and Tuesday after the holiday, those are the preparation days that teachers have to prepare the middle school classrooms and set up everything for our middle school students to arrive. On the 5th of April, so the following week, on Monday, April 5th, that's the first day for sixth graders. And on Tuesday, April 6th, will be the first day of in-person hybrid for 7th and 8th graders. Remember that you may have chosen to keep your child in distance learning, and that is fine. They can still stay in distance learning. We aren't changing anything for them. This schedule really focuses primarily on what will happen for our students who are in-person hybrid. On the 9th of April will be the grading day for our high school students, our high school teachers. So high school teachers will not, or high school students will not have classes on April 9th. And then on April 12th and 13th, again, high school students won't have classes because that is when their teachers are preparing their classrooms for students to come back to school. And then the first day of school for ninth graders will be April 15th. And for ninth graders and for 10th through 12th graders whose last names, wait, just a minute. Let me make sure I'm correct. 9th graders will be their first day on April 15th. If their last names start with A through L. The next day on April 16th, 9th graders who have last names that begin with M through Z will have their first days. And then on the 19th, everybody who attends high school in person will be at school in person. This question, and I'm going to look at it in English since David can translate for us, but, or I'll speak to it. What happens if my student is absent? So if your student is absent during hybrid learning, during the in-person hybrid learning, what you do is different if your child is in elementary school versus if your child is in middle or in high school. If your child is in elementary school and they are absent, but they feel well enough to participate in school from home, like they do through distance learning, and this may happen if your child has an exposure to COVID and needs to stay home for quarantine. So they may feel just fine, but they'll need to stay home. Then what they can do is they will be able to access another classroom via distance learning, a different teacher during the time that they're home. But that teacher will also be teaching the same things that their regular classroom teacher is teaching. So it should be pretty seamless and comfortable for them. So they will be accessing distance learning if they are absent at home and feel healthy enough to participate. At middle and high school, their schedules are very different, however. So the in-person students and teachers are in different classes than, or different class schedules than those who are in distance learning. So if you have a middle school or a high school student who's absent because they have to quarantine, they're absent at home for a while, they don't, because they've been exposed, then it would be you would handle that just like you would during a regular school year. So you would reach out to the child's teacher, let the school know that they're absent. The child would then get the work from their classroom teacher to make up the work from home, but they wouldn't be engaging through distance learning. They would be making up the work that they're missing when they're not in school. And that is all that we prepared ahead of time for you, because we felt that those were the biggest questions that we've had. We've also had questions around health and safety protocols, what classrooms will look like. We have had questions around athletics and activities. And we want to make sure that you have this opportunity to ask any questions that you have. And it can be about distance learning, which your kids are in now, and your children may be staying in distance learning. So you may have some questions about what will that look like? Or it may be about in person and going back to school in person and what that will look like. So at this point, it looks like we've got a lot of comments in the chat. Patricia, and maybe we could, I don't know if they're all our comments or if we have questions. Okay.
I was just trying to inform everybody how to go to the interpretation function in Zoom. But I think Andrew make a good point. When people is asking questions, sometimes I don't know if David is going to be able to see the questions in the chat. So maybe we will read it to you in English if there is some question in Spanish. But at this point, I think I want to ask if everybody is able to connect with that function, because I kind of worry about if people they don't identify this new symbol, you know.
Please, yeah.
Okay. Buenas noches de nuevo yo. para preguntarles si por favor nos pueden comunicar por el chat si están escuchando la interpretación que David está haciendo. El botón de interpretación está en la parte inferior de su pantalla, cerca a un botón verde que dice Share Screen. Hay un botón que dice Interpretation y es el símbolo de un mundo. Cuando marquen ahí pueden encontrar inglés y español. Marquen sobre español y David va a estar interpretando simultáneamente. Si todos están escuchando esto, por favor, si no, avísenme con un mensaje en el chat. Perfecto. So everybody's listen and they can hear everything and the interpretation is very good. So we're fine.
Excellent.
Okay.
That's great. So now what we are hoping is to answer any questions that you have. They can be very small questions. They can be big questions. I guarantee you someone else on the call has the same question you have. So please just type in the chat, or you can turn on your microphone and ask us. You may ask us in Spanish or in English, whichever you feel more comfortable using.
Mm-hmm. I think there is a question of Josefina. I say, my son has his personal computer. I think she's asking if he can bring his own computer to school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll let Assistant Superintendent Harlan speak to that.
Sure. So we have issued Chromebooks and Chrome tabs to students to bring to school and to use at home. But if your student has their own and would prefer to bring their own Chromebook or their own laptop to use at school, they're welcome to do that. They don't need to, though, if you would rather them keep their laptop at home just to make sure it doesn't get dropped or anything. They can show up at school and we will issue a Chromebook to them to be able to use. So they're welcome to do that if you're comfortable with that and they are. But if not, that's okay. We have Chromebooks that we can check out to students. I also wonder if there are any questions regarding if you're staying in comprehensive distance learning. And I say that because the schedule will change for them. Everyone's schedule will change when some students come back, just because classes may change. Most likely your child's teacher is not changing if they're elementary, but it's possible that they could be changing. So I just want to make sure that if folks have any questions regarding that, they ask. It looks like there's another question in the chat that says, my daughter's in the 7th grade and her last name starts with R. At what time would she have classes? Because she also has Spanish classes. So I'm assuming she also has ELD. Did I get that right, Patricia?
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if she's asking if she has Spanish classes, like a Spanish classes in middle school. I think she's referring to the ELL classes.
I think so too.
But I can ask Adelina.
Yeah.
Adelina, me está escuchando. Estamos tratando de saber si su pregunta se refiere a que su niña está en 7º grado, su apellido empieza con R, dice que cuáles las horas que va a tener clases, porque también tiene la clase, ¿usted se refiere a la clase de español o a la clase que está recibiendo para aprender inglés?
Buenas tardes, sí, pregunto porque la clase de español ella normalmente lo tiene en la tarde y si ella va a estar en clases temprano, todavía va a seguir así su clase de español o la van a integrar junto con sus clases de la mañana.
So ella lleva clases. Okay, so Adeline is asking because her daughter is receiving Spanish classes in the afternoon and she's going to be in classes in the morning in the school. So how they're going to integrate these classes so that she's going to have classes in the school in the morning and then classes in the afternoon at home, or how that is going to work?
I would wonder what, I'm assuming, what middle school, because that will help me with the schedule. Can you ask her what middle school her daughter goes to?
I think David. Oh.
En la secundaria de Calapuya.
Calapuya.
And so middle school are going in AM sessions and PM sessions. And if it's ELD classes or BEP classes, I can let Stacy kind of take that, but it's very possible that she will be at school, let's say in the AM time, and she might have classes in the PM as well. Miss Lee?
It will depend. The best person to ask is probably the BEP teacher. I'm assuming it's the bilingual ed program. My understanding is that it will be, as Ms. Harlan said, if you have, if she has classes in the morning, she would have bilingual education in the afternoon, online at home, or the opposite. If she had classes at school in the afternoon, she might have bilingual education online in the morning. But Apollo Curiel, the teacher, can verify that.
Está bien, gracias.
No me ayudan, pues, ¿cómo le hago?
Melissa, there is another question in English. Leonor translated for you.
I see.
It's from Claudia.
I see that. So Claudia asked, my children are registered to return to school in person. Can I change it so she can stay home? I am indecisive. So yes, you may change it so that your child can stay home. I would encourage you to ask questions about those things that you're worried about so that you have all the information that you might need for the decision. But yes, you can absolutely choose to keep your child home. The challenge is once they are at home and haven't enrolled in person, it is harder for us to then have them change their schedule, change their mind, and move from distance learning into hybrid, because we have to assign teachers to just a certain number of students. And once that teacher's classroom is full, we don't have room because of the rules from the Department of Education. So it's really important. I would just encourage you to ask all your questions about health and safety things so that you really make a decision that you feel comfortable with for a long period of time. And we're happy to answer those tonight. We have the school district nurse, our health coordinator, Rachel Smith, here, and she can answer any questions that you have. Josefina said they had said that the children some would come in the morning and others in the afternoon. Could you please remind me of the times? And so it depends what grade level they are in. So Assistant Superintendent Harlan, can you help out with that?
Yeah, so I just asked which schools. So at Memorial, there's an AM cohort and a PM cohort. The AM cohort goes from 7:45 to 11:05. And the PM cohort goes from 12:05 to 3:25. And West Albany High School, let me check because I do not have that one off the top of my head. It's different, obviously, than the middle schools. And so, so it depends on their last name. If your last name is A through L, your children will go in person Mondays and Thursdays. If your student's last name begins with M through Z, they'll attend on Tuesdays and Fridays. And the day starts at 8 and goes till about 1 o'clock. And there are office hours afterwards. So if your student needed help with something in particular, they could see their teachers, whichever teacher they would need help with afterwards as well. So I see another question from Gloria. Thank you for your question. She says, I have 2 students, 9th and 12th grade, and when they return to class, will they be taught virtually? So no, when they go to school, they will be taught by a teacher. A teacher will be in class with them, and so will classmates. They'll still bring their laptop or Chromebook because some of their work that they'll do, they'll turn in electronically, right? So if you typed answers or typed on writing a paper, you'll still see your assignments and turn them in electronically. But no, you will be taught by your teacher who will be in the room with you. The only difference is there will be fewer students and we'll be spaced out and wearing masks when we're together. But they'll be taught by a live human, just like they were before.
So Claudia asks, how many rotations will they do and how many students in class?
Yeah, so for high school, they'll have 4 classes. And so there will be kind of 4 rotations, but it won't be like it used to be where the bell rings and then everyone just like walks here, there, and just a mass of students. It will be much more controlled than that. And there will be probably around 15 to 17 kids in each class, depending on the class. Some might have fewer, some might have a few more, but it will be about half of what there typically has been.
Okay, I see Jose has a question. Looks like a student at son at South Albany and other son at North Albany.
In the middle, yeah.
And they will be attending hybrid learning. When would the bus pick them up?
Yeah. So checking the district, and the Welcome Center can help you do this as well, but that will be based on your address and where that pickup spot is. I don't know all of the bus stops or routes and times, but they can certainly help you with what that would be. It will be in the morning, I can tell you that, but I don't know what time it's based on that bus stop and where you live. Yes, Patricia.
I think there is a good information that maybe we can share with everybody about transportation during a spring break. Can I share that? I think we have a meeting in the morning with Heather and we share a bit. Okay.
Absolutely.
Va a haber durante las vacaciones de primavera personas que puedan contestar el teléfono en español en la oficina de transporte del distrito escolar. Los horarios específicos de las personas que van a poder contestar el teléfono en español. Si ustedes tienen una pregunta sobre las rutas de los autobuses y los horarios, vamos a ponerlo en la página del distrito escolar y en la página del centro de bienvenida en Facebook. Y vamos a mandar esa información para que ustedes puedan llamar y preguntar los horarios y las rutas del autobús. So I think we're going to advertise the phone number of transportation, Office of Transportation, because we are going to have people answer phone calls in Spanish during spring break with information about routes, times, because I think it's something that Heather is coordinating with transportation. So I think that will be very helpful for everybody.
Thank you. So we have someone who is just a little late to the call and was wondering when school begins. And so we just need to know where your child goes to school. And this is for Guadalupe.
And so while we're getting the information from Guadalupe about, it looks like sunrise. And so Guadalupe, if I'm reading just the comments correctly, it looks like your child goes to Sunrise and will be staying in comprehensive distance learning. And so I am wondering if Miss Luthra knows all of the elementary start times, probably not off the top of your head, but.
I can be looking it up, just a second.
Okay, that'd be great. And while we're doing that, I wanted to jump to Josefina's comment about the kids being really excited, but really kind of nervous and anxious and maybe even afraid. And so thank you so much for talking to them about what it will look like. I think that's so helpful. And yes, they will receive support at school, not only from their teachers and assistants, but really everybody around how it looks different and how we might do things differently, and that we're safe and it's okay. David has his hand up, but I can't hear David.
So Carlos said, David, when Patricia speaks, I can't hear anything that she says, only when you speak. And Carlos, that's because David is on the Spanish speaking side of the conversation. So he is, no, that's not why.
No, I understand, because all they're going to hear is David's voice. So
yes,
might need some time
David.
up.
I don't believe it's possible for him to go back and forth between the English channel and the Spanish channel.
Yeah, yeah. I think he just wanted us to slow down.
Mm-hmm. So
All right, thank you, David. So Magdalena says, my question is also for elementary students. Will it be necessary for them to take their devices to class? And yes, it will. So all of our students will need to take their devices to school and then back home every night. And that's because some of the work that they are doing at school, they may need to finish at home that night and turn in, even little kids. It is also so that if for any reason the students would need to, after they went home, be home for a few days, they would have the device that they need to be able to do the work from home. So we want to make sure that, yes, they bring their devices to school back and forth every day.
mm-hmm. So the next question is, if for some reason students forget their masks, or I would say they lose them or they get ripped or wet, will schools have, we will have plenty of masks, lots of extras on hand for students and for staff. We have another question about Boys and Girls Club being open. Boys and Girls Club will be open, and they will be providing support and care for students as well.
Can I answer that one?
Oh, mm-hmm.
Yes, please.
In order to go to Boys and Girls Club, though, you have to register ahead of time because they also have cohorts and small groups, so they don't have the space they used to. If your child's in the morning session, there will be transportation to the Boys and Girls Club, but not from the Boys and Girls Club to school. But if you want them to go to Boys and Girls Club, contact them right away to get a spot because you can't drop in anymore.
Right. Thank you. Fantastic. Okay, we talked about forgetting masks. Okay. I do not know. Josefina has said something that I need translated.
She would like to know just the schedules for Memorial and for West. And so if we could have communications or someone plop that in the chat, that would be great.
So no, Memorial will be on a different schedule. So the question is, will Memorial Middle School have the same times and rotations as West Albany? Will they go in alphabetical order? So no, Memorial Middle School will be going to school 4 days a week. Students will go to school either in the morning or in the afternoon. And if and they will go every day. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, all 4 days. But at West Albany, students will be going to school all day, only 2 days a week.
Guadalupe, you are so welcome. Thank you for coming and just being involved. And I just really appreciate it. So thank you. Carlos has a question about breakfast. So breakfast, kids will kind of pick up and take with them, and they will be able to eat in their classrooms at the high school as well. It will be more like kind of grab and go things, so they won't necessarily be eating in the cafeteria, but they'll pick up their food and take it to class and be able to eat breakfast there.
And it's important to know that the students will get both breakfast and lunch. So students will get 2 meals at school.
They'll get 2 meals, but they'll probably take 1 home. So they might eat breakfast and have an elementary school that ends early, like at 10:30. So they'll take their lunch home. So they'll actually get 2 meals a day.
And that is true if students are going to school in the afternoon as well, correct?
Say that again, Melissa.
Students will get 2 meals a day if they go to school in the afternoon as well.
Yep, they'll be able to take food home with them at the end of the day if they choose, for sure. At South, oh, I'm looking at another question, but yes, at any level, they'll be able to do that. So at South, what day you're going is dependent on what your last name is. And so it will be split Tuesday, Friday. Nope, hold on. Help me. Monday, Thursday, yes. Tuesday, Friday. If your last name begins with A through L, it's Monday, Thursday. If it begins with M through Z, it's Tuesday, Friday. Great question about high schoolers being able to eat snacks and drink water during classes. Absolutely. They will. They'll be in their kind of stable cohorts in class. So just like breakfast, let's say they come to school in the morning and want breakfast, they'll be grabbing that, taking that to class and eating there. Mhm. Yep, so there is a calendar or a schedule for South. And if you scroll up in the chat, you will see it.
So is the question about Waverly, what day, how many days will they attend? So if they're going to school in person, or if they are in distance learning, they will be attending 4 days a week. So, but they will be either in the morning or they will be in the afternoon. So they will go Monday and Tuesday and Thursday and Friday.
They should have already, the parents should have received a notification from the school about when they're going. So if they haven't, please call the school because they can give you exact information.
Thank you. Nurse Rachel, could you speak a little bit about the type of masks that students will need to be wearing when they're at school?
Gladly. So the masks that we would ask students to wear at school will have to have at least 2 layers. And that's really important because it provides an extra layer of protection in catching all of those droplets. So with those 2 layers, we would ask that the students not wear gaiters, the thin cloths that you can pull up and pull down really easily. We'd ask that they wear the masks with either ear loops or that tie in the back, something of that nature, and nothing with exhalation valves. So if you see those masks that have a little vent right here, we'd ask that you not wear those because that does the opposite of what we want the mask to do and lets all those particles out right into the air where everybody else is breathing. So the big thing though is that it's at least 2 layers. And we have a bunch of masks on hand. So like Assistant Superintendent Harlan said, if they get lost or they get dirty or, you know, someone sneezes or it's really rainy outside, we've got backups, lots of backups. And some of them are really cute too.
I think we have a question about a student with a medical condition where they need to eat. Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah, the question is, my son has a medical condition that is he needs to eat at any time if he need it. It will be the protocols, the medical protocols continue if it's necessary for students with a medical condition during the hybrid instruction.
Yes, all of our medical protocols that your student would have during any other year are still in place this year. And if there's ever any concerns about your student not being able to eat or drink if they need it for medical reasons, we ask that you reach out to the Welcome Center or to the nurses, and we'll make sure that we have conversations about what accommodations look like for that student. So if your student needs, you know, snacks or water breaks or bathroom breaks, depending on their medical condition, that's something that will definitely still be honored this year and every year. It's really important to us.
I see a question asking if Wednesdays will continue to be like now. And yes, they will. Wednesdays will feel the same for your students. And so no students will attend school on Wednesdays. All students will be at home and their learning will look as it does now. Okay. So it's
Can it be a great idea if you at elementary level if you send a water bottle with your child? Some schools will have them, but we have machines that can help fill the water bottles at school. but they won't like necessarily be drinking from the drinking fountain. We'll have cups, little Dixie cups there, but bringing a personal water bottle would be a great idea.
So we have just about 10 minutes left together. So what are those questions you have that you were too embarrassed to ask at the beginning, but now you feel super comfortable because we've answered so many questions and you feel like you want to ask us now? Well, I think what may be a good idea is for staff to hang on the call for until about 25 after. So we'll be on, and then we'll take about a 5-minute break before our next meeting. So I want to say thank you to those of you who joined tonight. And if you want to hang on until some people have left and ask another question, feel free. We're here. We are so grateful you came tonight and asked questions, and please use the Welcome Center. They are great supports for you, and they certainly are of huge value to me as the superintendent. I appreciate their work very much. So thank you to all of the translation and interpretation team, especially to David. Thank you very much. Good night. You're welcome.
I just want to use these little 2 seconds to remind the phone number for the Department of Transportation. So, quiero recordarles el número de teléfono del Departamento de Transporte para que puedan usarlo durante las vacaciones de primavera, si es que necesitan las rutas o los horarios de los autobuses. Si pueden, Leonor lo ha puesto en el chat, pero voy a repetirlo, es 541-967-4626. Es el número de teléfono del Departamento de Transporte. Gracias.
So, Gabriela, I saw that you asked what days middle school students will go to school. All the middle school students who are going to school will go Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, just like elementary school. And they will be either going to school in the morning or in the afternoon.